order. May I have a roll call, please?
Certainly. Trustee Dorau.
Here.
Trustee Myers. Here. Trustee Walschlager.
Here.
Trustee Landwehr.
Here.
President Vanderstill.
Here.
Currently Trustee Swenson and Trustee Hansen are excused.
Trustee is trying to make his way here, but he is what would be considered approximately between 15 and 30 minutes out. We'll see whether he makes it. Right. Well, no, I know. I just was. At this time, if there's any public comments, I'm sorry. If you'd all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Led by Trustee Dorau, I'm very sorry.
I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
take away my starting.
At this time, if anybody has any public comments for items that are not on the agenda, please feel free to step towards the podium. Seeing as there are none, we will begin with a consideration of a motion to approve the village board minutes from the December 10th, 2018 meeting.
Also move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded.
Donna did the second.
No, I just want to see if anybody had anything to say. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? That motion is carried. The next item on the agenda, the next items actually relate to Overlook Trails. We'll take these one by one, but the Glen and Overlook Trails are what these items relate to. The first one being a consideration of the third reading and adoption of a bill for an ordinance 1022, 2018-1. An ordinance annexing territory to the village of Hartland, Wisconsin, pursuant to Wisconsin Statute 66.21, Section 2.
0217, Section 2, just to be clear. If I may, before you get into a motion and anything there, this is related, as he mentioned, to the annexation of the property we refer to as the North 40, or it's the Overlook Trails subdivision east of Mary Hill into the village. You recall we tabled this matter waiting for the Department of Administration to provide its response related to whether the annexation was in the public interest. It has done so, provided its response, and says yes, it is in fact in the public interest to make the annexation. I will also remind the village board that this has an interesting delayed effective date. It is all contingent on whether we actually approve and have executed a planned unit development agreement related to the subdivision. So all indications are that we will reach that agreement. The developer has seen a draft of that and is working on his final engineering, which would be an attachment to that, and that's really what we're holding on right at this point. So this ordinance would not become effective until after that agreement is executed, and then it triggers automatic adoption or automatic effectiveness of this ordinance.
I move we adopt ordinance 1022, 2018, 1.
The annex.
I'll second it.
Quick question, Dave, you lost me on the end there. Does it become effective today if it passes, or when the PUD gets attached?
So the effective date of any ordinance, any ordinance is after we publish as necessary.
Okay.
In this case, the language of the ordinance says that this effective date is the later of that date or execution of the development agreement.
Okay, so it's not today.
So it would not become effective today. It would not become effective next week sometime. It would become effective more likely sometime in the first quarter of next year. In fact, it has a drop dead date of March 31 of 2019.
Yeah, I saw that. But nothing can be done on the property till that's all done, correct?
Nothing can be done on the property until
Okay.
we execute the planned unit development agreement, which is why this, and we'll talk about it again in the next ordinance, why they all trigger together.
I was confused at the end there. Okay,
Yep,
thank you.
sorry about that.
Any other?
When next year?
Within the first quarter, it sunsets on March 31.
Okay.
Any other items? Or I should say comments, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That is adopted. The next item relating to the Glen and Overlook Trails, we have a consideration of the third reading and adoption of bill for an ordinance 1022, 2018-2, an ordinance to amend the official zoning map of the village of Hartland.
I so move we adopt 1022, 2018, 2.
I second.
It's been moved and seconded.
If I may, under comment, same sort of comment here. This has an effective date that is delayed until immediately after the effectiveness of the ordinance you just adopted. So they kind of train together. That one becomes effective, then immediately this next one that you're considering right now becomes effective, all contingent on the execution of that PUD agreement.
Right.
One, again, another clarification. In the first paragraph, the last part of it, is this being zoned condo or single family?
It is, their condo is not a zoning category.
Oh,
Condo is
okay.
simply a method of ownership. So it is being zoned entirely, the entire 40-acre roughly parcel is being zoned residential single-family 1, which is our least dense sewered residential single-family district. Then over top of that
Right.
is the planned unit development, which allows the condominium and provides all of the details of how the clustering occurs and all of that. And there is a third designation on the property in the northwest corner covering the woods.
Oh, yeah.
And along the northern boundary is Upland Conservancy.
So legally, like for marketing purposes, it is a condo development.
No, it's gotta turn to a pub. It's an R1 right now.
It is a condo development, and that's how the units would get sold, yes.
Okay. I just
Limited
want-
common elements and all of the things that go with condos,
Okay, just wanted to clarify
which
that.
is described in the PUD agreement and is part of the planned unit development
Okay.
agreement.
Any other questions, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That is also adopted. The last item we have relating to Glen at Overlook Trails is a consideration of a motion to approve the site plan and related preliminary condominium plat for the Glen at Overlook Trails.
And this has not been finally approved by the planning commission, right?
Both these documents have been recommended for approval.
Yeah.
But
And all
this
the
is
questions and
preliminary
lights,
condo
like the
plat.
lighting and everything has been discussed.
Those matters will be part of the PUD agreement, which will come back in that first quarter of next year.
We have not seen those, to my knowledge.
Right.
That comes back when you approve the pub.
This is the preliminary, so there will be more,
So this
more
isn't the final
detailed
one.
discussion now.
So this is just for this map we have here, correct?
Correct.
Have they gotten, the utility water sewer approval agreement from that private driveway?
We were notified today. I have not talked with the Gebhardts nor their attorney, or we as a village haven't heard from the Gebhardts or their attorney, but we heard from Newman. An email was sent today stating that they did come to an agreement, and they have worked out an agreement to work that easement with the Gebhardts. Newman Development
Okay.
has worked out, they have come, a meeting of the minds.
So we have in writing from him, but not the owner.
I wouldn't consider, we have an email that says we just reached agreement, so that they will be able to take care of that on their own, other than us putting the easement.
And we're providing them with sample easement documents this week.
So if we approve this and that falls through, then what?
Well, then
Well,
you
we
got-
already voted on that.
we already voted that we'd
Yeah.
go into condemnation. And if it doesn't,
We would then move forward to try to force that issue of getting those, just that
Yeah.
underground easement rights for underground utility easement is what it would
Okay.
be.
All right.
And if there's any changes in this plan, because this is just a preliminary,
Correct.
we're just doing the preliminary approval.
yep.
But it has to come back for the final, right?
Correct.
Yep.
I'll move that we approve the preliminary.
seconded.
It's been moved and seconded to approve that preliminary plot map for the for the condominium plat, I should say, for the Glen at Overlook Trails. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? That site plan is approved. Preliminary site plan is approved. So we have, this is gonna be a little, we have announcements. One thing I do want to say, for a long time, our village attorney has been, though he's with a firm now, it's Hector Della Mora. he's been our village attorney for a long time. Some of you may have seen him here at meetings, but the village board obviously has. But I'd like to extend my, sympathy and condolences from the village as he just recently lost his mother. And,
Oh, he did.
and she just passed away at 94 years old, so our deepest condolences to him. I did call on behalf of the village, called him back, actually. He let me know, and I just called him to say, our sympathies, so.
That's it.
Okay.
What other announcements? Most likely,
Wish everybody a Merry Christmas.
well, I'll leave that at that.
Oh,
Are you supposed to be wearing that hat?
No, that's a decoration. That is not an article of clothing. So, but as Trustee Landwehr just said, Merry Christmas to everybody out there. Hopefully your holidays are great. And if you're celebrating some other holiday other than Christmas, hopefully it's good. And everybody stays safe traveling. And if anybody else has any announcements, the floor is yours. Chief?
Thank you. Just one quick one. I know I sent the board an email on this already, but wanted to just let everyone know in person. We were reaccredited through the YLA board. They had voted anonymously to accept our accreditation. So another 3 years, we will be accredited and we get to do the process all over again. In that email, I know to the board, they did invite community members, so I wanted to extend that invitation to the board for that meeting that they're holding in Wauwatosa on January 18th at 11:15 a.m. If that is something you're interested in going to, there'll be a short presentation and a lunch following that. Just let me know. I just have to get back to the YLA board with our numbers. If you're not able to make that, not a big deal on my end because we will be doing a formal presentation here at the village board. So I want to make sure that you're aware that you will not miss the presentation in one way or another if you can't make it to that meeting on January 18th.
Congratulations.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Getting through that. I'm sure you were having fun getting through that.
Oh yeah, it's a good way to start. So we
Yeah.
got it done and it was a lot of work, but it was well worth it.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
thanks, Steve.
Does anybody else have any other announcements? So we have an odd situation here. Number one of the items that was originally on our agenda was that we were hoping that we would have some findings that may be presented from one of our investigators that was looking into some of the things that we have going on of the two investigations, internal audits that we have going on inside of the village, that we were going to take care of that. That is not ready, and obviously that person is not here. Secondly, we were going to have, or on the agenda was a closed session item so the board could discuss, the administrators, go through some more of that performance review. With two members missing, I leave it up to the board, but with two members missing, I think that we should do this with a full board present. I think we should just hold it off. I do want to say, just so that anybody knows, I don't have to say it. Never mind, I'm sorry. I was jumping the gun. I just wanted to say if we decide to do anything regarding compensation, so that our administrator knows that would be included on the annual basis, if we did that. I just wanted to make sure that that was clear.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Okay? So if I'm not mistaken, even though it's on the agenda, we don't have to go into closed session. So that would be taken up at that next January meeting, which would be the
14.
14th of
And I won't be
January.
here, so you know if you went for it, but that's all right.
No,
You're not
I'd like you to be here.
Well, I better
He's
be
gonna be out
gone.
of town, he just said.
When are you leaving?
Huh?
You
Sunday.
can do it
I'll
later
be
if you
back
want.
Wednesday.
It's up to you.
Okay, we're gonna postpone it till the second meeting in January,
28.
28th. Or, sorry, I would have to make a motion to, this is for the,
So you don't need to worry about making a motion to table that because it's really, you don't have to go into close. So
Okay.
we'll just put it back on the agenda on the 28th.
gotcha, okay.
So
So we're just saying we're not going into closed session. So at this time, since the items aren't, since we're not ready to discuss what we needed to discuss for further items on the agenda, I would, if no one else has any other announcements, I would entertain a motion.
But if you wanna make sure you get on the agenda, even next week, that we're postponing that to the 28th.
Right,
I mean, that gives everybody,
a heads up.
Yeah,
Yep,
I think.
The record will reflect that we're gonna postpone it. but
Yeah,
yeah,
okay.
It's not
Just
an
so you
action
know, we're
item.
postponing it to the 20th.
sure, sure.
Whatever.
No, thank you. So with that, as stated, there is not other business that was on the, other village business that was on the agenda. Did you have any announcements, Dave?
I did not.
Okay.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
A second.
It has been moved and seconded that we adjourn. All in favor? Aye. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for coming. I just set a record. That's the fastest meeting I've had.